The observation deck of the Meridian Station hummed with the low thrum of life support systems as Lisa checked the atmospheric processors for the third time that evening. Everything registered green, but old habits died hard when you were responsible for keeping 300 alien dignitaries breathing human-compatible air. "You're going to wear out the sensors," Alex called from the kitchenette, his voice carrying that familiar tone of affectionate exasperation. "And you're going to burn whatever's in that pan if you don't pay attention," Lisa shot back, finally tearing her eyes from the console. The Galactic Confluence Summit had been running for 2 weeks now, and tonight was the cultural exchange dinner, humanity's turn to host. Lisa had spent months planning the event, coordinating with the xenobiologists and diplomats to ensure nothing on the menu would accidentally poison, offend, or horrify their guests. Alex, as the station's head chef, had somehow convinced her to let him cook something authentic. She should have known better. "What exactly are you making?" Lisa asked, approaching the kitchen where Alex stood over a commercial-grade plasma skillet, the kind designed to handle everything from terrestrial proteins to silicon-based nutrients. "Dinner," Alex replied with a grin that set off every alarm bell in her diplomatic consciousness. On the cutting board beside him lay what appeared to be thick, marbled steaks, deep crimson with striations of white fat running through the tissue. The meat sizzled in the pan, releasing an aroma that made Lisa's mouth water despite her growing concern. "Alex, what is that?" "Thracian Ridge Stalker." He flipped the steaks with practiced ease. "Medium rare, seared in Europan butter with a reduction of." "You're cooking a what?" Lisa's voice climbed an octave. She pulled up her data pad with trembling fingers, scrolling frantically through the xenobiological database. "Alex, the entry here says it's a Class 5 apex predator, crystalline exoskeleton, capable of shearing through military-grade armor. Adults can take down a Krellian battle mech. It says here that precisely 0 species in the known galaxy hunt them for food because they're considered unkillable death machines." Alex glanced at her, then back to his steaks. "Yeah, that sounds about right. Thracian government sent over 6 of them last month as part of the fauna exchange program. Beautiful creatures, really. Took me and the biocontainment team about 3 hours to humanely process the first one." 3 hours? Lisa felt lightheaded. "Alex, the Thracian ambassador is attending tonight. You're serving him his planet's apex predator. The thing that's been the subject of their mythology and fear for millennia. The creature that appears in their horror stories and religious texts as an unkillable demon." "I know," Alex said cheerfully, plating the steaks with roasted Martian vegetables and a drizzle of something that shimmered purple. "That's why I invited him to the kitchen first. Wanted to make sure it was culturally appropriate." As if on cue, the kitchen door hissed open. Ambassador Thexrel entered, his chitinous frame clicking softly with each movement. The Thracian's compound eyes fixed on the plates, and his breathing spiracles flared wide. A gesture Lisa had learned indicated extreme distress. "Ambassador, I am so sorry," Lisa began, already composing the diplomatic incident report in her head. "This was not approved through proper channels, and I assure you." Director Lisa, Thexrel's translator, rendered his clicks and whistles into perfect standard English. May I document this? My people will not believe it otherwise." Lisa blinked. "Document what?" The ambassador moved closer to the plates, his sensory antennae extended fully. "In 3,000 years of Thracian civilization, we have lost hundreds of thousands to the Ridge Stalkers. They are fear incarnate. They have shaped our evolution, our culture, our architecture. We build our cities underground because of them. We have developed weapons, force fields, orbital bombardment protocols, all to avoid them." He turned to Alex. "And you killed it. With what weapon?" Alex wiped his hands on his apron. "Well, technically the biocontainment team used a neural stunner first, standard protocol for processing large specimens. But for the actual butchering, just knives. Really good knives, though. The exoskeleton was tricky, but once you find the joints, it's not too different from breaking down a earth lobster, just bigger. Thexrel's entire body had gone rigid. You compared an apex predator to food preparation. I mean, yeah, Alex shrugged. Look, I get that they're dangerous in the wild, but humans have been turning dangerous things into dinner since we figured out fire. Sharks, crocodiles, bears, venomous fish. If it moves and has protein, someone's probably figured out how to cook it. The ambassador's translator fell silent for a moment, as if struggling to process the concept. When he spoke again, his voice carried a different quality. Chef Alex, you are aware that ridge stalkers were considered by every species that has encountered them to be outside the food chain. They are the end point, the ultimate predator. Nothing preys upon them. Nothing did prey on them, Alex corrected gently. But you know how humans are. We're not the biggest or the strongest, but we're persistent, and we get hungry. He gestured to the plates. Would you like to try some? I promise it's good. The meat is actually incredibly tender once you prepare it correctly. The crystalline structure breaks down beautifully under high heat, and the fat content is phenomenal. Lisa watched in amazement as Ambassador Thexrel approached the plate like it was a religious artifact. His manipulator limbs trembled as he picked up the utensils. My ancestors fled from these creatures, he said softly. They haunted our dreams. They were the darkness beyond the cave, the shadow that ended bloodlines. And now, he cut into the steak, the knife sliding through effortlessly. Now they are medium rare. Medium rare, Alex confirmed. You want my honest opinion? They're going to be the next big thing in exotic cuisine. The fat content is perfect, the flavor is rich and clean, and there's something in the crystalline structure that creates this incredible texture. Give it 5 years, and I bet there'll be ridge stalker ranches across human space. The ambassador placed a piece in his feeding orifice. His eyes closed, all of them. For a long moment he was silent. When he opened his eyes again, he turned to Lisa. Director, I must contact my homeworld immediately. Lisa's heart sank. Ambassador, I understand if this is offensive. We can. Offensive. Thexrel's translator managed to convey what might have been laughter. Director, I need to contact my government about purchasing breeding stock. If humans can domesticate ridge stalkers, can turn our ultimate predator into this. He gestured at the plate with something approaching reverence. Then the Thraxian people need to have a very long conversation about what else we've been afraid of unnecessarily. As the ambassador left to make his call, Alex grinned at Lisa. See, told you it would be fine. Lisa slumped against the counter, adrenaline still flooding her system. You're going to give me a heart attack one of these days. Maybe, Alex admitted, preparing another plate. But at least you'll die well fed. He paused, then added with mock seriousness. You know what the best part is? I've been talking to the Vrelian delegation. Apparently, they have these things in their oceans called depth horrors, tentacled nightmares that can grow up to 50 meters long. Complete ecological dead zones around them because nothing dares get close. Lisa stared at him. No. They're cephalopods, Lisa, basically space calamari. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, with the right preparation. Alex, I swear by every star in the galaxy. But even as she protested, Lisa couldn't help but smile. This was humanity's gift to the galaxy, she supposed. Not just technology or art or diplomacy, but this bizarre, almost pathological refusal to accept that anything was truly unkillable, inedible, or insurmountable. Somewhere in the depths of the station, she could hear the dinner bell chiming. 300 alien dignitaries were about to discover what humans did to apex predators. They turned them into dinner specials. And somehow, Lisa suspected, the galaxy would never quite be the same.